Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा वेलकम एवरीवन to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And last time we discussed the wonderful pastime of Govardhan Leela, how Krishna orchestrated this whole pastime to for many reasons. First of all, he wanted to curb the pride of Indra, and then he wanted to give association to all the Brajvasis for a long time. And also he wanted to start the festival of Govardhan Puja. So, with all these things in mind, Krishna performed such wonderful pastime of lifting Govardhan, and as a result of that, everybody came together. They got a chance to have darshan of Krishna, be with Krishna for 7 days continuously. So then, in this 26th chapter, which we will discuss today, which is entitled Wonderful Krishna. So Shukdev Goswami says that, when all these Brajavasis were there under Govardhan, they did not analyze, oh, how Krishna is lifting this Govardhan, such a small boy. How is it possible for him to, lift this Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights continuously? They were just absorbed in looking at Krishna, taking darshan of Krishna. They were enjoying the association of Krishna. But when they returned to their homes, then they started contemplating. Then they became so very perplexed and confused about how this happened. And that's how they started discussing among themselves. So one Brajvasi said, oh, today we have directly seen that Krishna has lifted this whole Govardhan mountain for 7 days continuously. And also we know previously when he was just few days old, he killed Putana, he killed so many other demons. And we always thought, when these extraordinary things were done by Krishna, we always thought, oh, it seems it is by the blessings of Brahmanas, or it is some mercy of Narayan, or Narayan has invested some power in Krishna. But today, all these assumptions have proven to be false. Because it is not possible for a 7-year-old boy to lift Govardhan Hill, such a huge big mountain, for 7 whole days. It seems he is Supreme Lord himself. But then they were thinking, but how is this possible? If Krishna is Supreme Lord, but we know that when we cuddle him, Krishna loves it. He feels hungry, he feels thirsty. Whenever there is thunder in the sky, he becomes fearful. He steals. And then he tells lies also. He speaks so many lies. Sometimes he plays tricks, sometimes he cheats us, sometimes he, does so many things to make us laugh. And as an ordinary human child, he goes to tend calves as a member of a cowherd community. If he is Supreme Personality himself, then why he is doing all these things? Just like ordinary human child. All these things are confusing us. So therefore they said we are totally confused about the identity of Krishna. So with all these thoughts going on in their mind, all the Brajvasis, they went to the assembly of Nanda Maharaj with this one thought, one question in the mind: who is Krishna? So all these Brajvasis, all these cowherd men, they went to the assembly of Nanda Maharaj and they asked, "Oh Nanda Maharaj, your son Krishna, he performs so many wonderful, extraordinary feats. How can we consider him to be an ordinary human child? It seems he's not an ordinary being." And then he says, if he's ordinary human child, all these Brajvasis, they say, if he's ordinary human child, then how can he perform such wonderful feats, astonishing pastimes? Just now, as a 7 years old boy, he has lifted this whole Govardhan hill. When he was just few days old, he killed Putana just by sucking her breast, and he sucked the entire life air. And Putana, she fell down dead. And then, when he was just 3 months old, he kicked a cart, a huge cart on which there were lots of vessels which were kept. It was a very, very heavy cart. Just by the touch of his finger, his toes, he overturned the entire cart. The entire cart fell apart. Just 3 months old. And then, when he was 1 year, a demon called Trinavarta came. And just like a plaything, Krishna, he caught hold of the neck of Trinavarta and he choked him and he killed him. And then, even though Krishna was bound but with a wooden grinding mortar, he made these two big, big, powerful, strong trees, Yamala Arjun trees, to fall. Just by pulling all these trees, pulling this wooden grinding mortar which was stuck in between these two trees, the two trees fell down. Without any effort, he did that. And then he killed Bakasur, a great demon who came in the form of a crane, effortlessly, just like a small child, you know, uh, tears apart, tears into two halves of grass, blade of grass. Krishna, he tore apart the beaks of Bakasur very effortlessly. And then there was a demon who entered as Vatsa, as a calf. And Krishna, he understood and he whirled him around by taking hold of his hind legs and he threw it on the top of a kapita tree, and the fruit of these trees fell down. How did he do that? And then, along with his brother Balram, he killed a powerful demon, Dhenukasur, who was not allowing anyone to eat those wonderful tal fruits. And then he swallowed forest fire and saved all the friends. Before that, he arranged for Balram to kill a powerful, powerful demon called Pralambasur. And then everybody of us, we saw how Krishna chastised Kalia. He was such a powerful snake, such a poisonous snake, he had contaminated the entire lake of Yamuna. Krishna, he chastised him and made him leave that lake. How is this possible for a small child to do all these things? दुस्तेजश्चानुरागोऽस्मिन् सर्वेषां नो व्रजौकसां नन्देते तनयेऽस्मासौ तस्यापौत्पत्तिकः कथम्. After saying all these things, Brajvasis, they say, Dustyajas anurago asmin. O Nand Maharaj, how is it that we all have such intense affection for your son? We are not able to give up thinking about your son, O Nanda Maharaj. We are all Rajokasa, we are inhabitants of Braja, and we are spontaneously attracted, Anurag. We have spontaneous attraction for your son. How is this possible? We are not able to understand the mystery of these pastimes. Chakravarti Thakur says that all these Brajvasis, all these cowherd men, they are telling, though he is your child, he is your son, but we have a strong affection for your son. You know, we have more affection for your son than our son. How is it possible? Generally, you know, things which are related to the body, family, children, they are dear because a person loves the body, and the body is dear because the soul is there in the body. The soul is dear because there is Paramatma in the body. Krishna must be Paramatma. That's why we are attracted to Krishna. Otherwise, how are we getting attracted to your son? Not possible. But if your son is Paramatma, then how is it? The feature of Paramatma is self-satisfied, he is indifferent. As Bhagavad Gita says, Upadrashta, Anumanta, I am the permitter and observer. Krishna says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjuna Tishtati. In everyone's heart, Krishna is there. Krishna is equal to everyone as Paramatma. He does not do any favor to anyone. But we see that your son is also attracted to us. He also likes to be with us. He also loves us. We are not able to understand. So all these things Brajvasis are telling to Nanda Maharaj. Please tell us the secret. We are not able to understand. So all these Brajvasis, they had love for Krishna without knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So therefore, it is described in the purport that because Krishna is a supreme personality of attractiveness, he is supremely attractive personality. So therefore, he has attracted all these Brajvasis, and therefore, it is very natural for everybody of us to get attracted to Krishna. But it is our unfortunate position that we are not attracted to Krishna. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Etadrishi tavat kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam. It is my unfortunate condition that I am not attracted to Krishna. I am not attracted to you, O my Lord. That is our unfortunate condition. But if we sincerely try our best every day, praying to Krishna, chanting, trying our best to be attentive while chanting, trying our best to be attentive while reading, while hearing, then the spontaneous attraction will come one day. But all these Brajvasis, because they are eternal residents, they are Nitya Siddha associates, they have such affection for Krishna because they are not contaminated by any dirt of this world. They have no conditionings. So therefore, they have natural affection for Krishna because that is the actual identity of everyone. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kobunoye Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karoye Uday. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema is there in everyone's heart. By hearing and chanting regularly, this can arise, this can grow, this Bhakti Lata Beej. The seed of devotion can bloom into a beautiful tree full of fruits if we continuously water it with hearing and chanting. So all these Brajvasis, So, so all these Brajvasis, because they are eternal residents of Vrindavan, they have spontaneous love for Krishna. So then they say, just see these, oh Nanda Maharaj, your son now at the age of 7 years, he has lifted this entire Govardhan hill. So a doubt has come in our mind about your son. Who is he actually? Please dispel our doubt. So Nanda Maharaj, when he hears all these queries from the cowherd men, he relates to all these Brajvasis the statements of Gargmuni. He says, O cowherd man, just hear from me what Gargacharya said when he came to do Namakaran Sanskar of Krishna and Balram. So, the Krishna, now Nanda Maharaj is repeating the exact same verses which came in the 8th chapter. So then he says, Gargacharya, he told that this son of yours, he appears in different colors in different millenniums. Varnastraya kila yasyan grihnato no yugam tanuhu shuklo raktastatha pita idanim krishnatam gatah. Your son, Gargacharya is telling to Nanda, your son appears in different yugas in different colors. And your son has many names. Your son has many forms. Bahuni santi nupani, bahuni santi namani, rupani cha sutasyate, gunakarmanu rupani, tanyaham vedano janah. Oh, your son appears in many names, many forms. Earlier, your son has appeared as son of Vasudev, and therefore he is known as Vasudev also. And therefore, O Nanda Maharaj, this son of yours will free you from all the dangers. Eshava Shreya Dasyat Gopagokulanandanaha Anena Sarva Durgani Yuyam Anjastarishyatha. So in the 8th chapter, where all these verses they come, Prabhupada has given elaborate purports, describing how Krishna is Supreme Lord, how he appears in many incarnations, many forms. So Gargacharya said, Isha vah Shreya Adhasyad. This child will act auspiciously for you and for all the Brajavasis, Gopa, Gokula Nandanaha. Therefore, anytime you are faced with danger, please go and surrender to your son. Why? Anena sarva durgani yuya manjastarishyatha. Because this son of yours will deliver you from all sorts of dangers, O Nanda Maharaj. And therefore, Gargacharya continued, said, O Nanda Maharaj, it is recorded in the history that any time Indra is put into trouble by the demoniac forces, this son of yours, he appears in various forms and helps Indra to get his kingdom back. Whenever there is a decline in the religion, whenever the rogues increase, your son appears to reestablish the principles of religion, to protect protect your devotees, to establish the principles of truth. And then he says, Gargacharya said very wonderful verse. Ya etasmin mahabhaga priti kurvanti manavaha narayo abhibhavantetan vishnu paksha nivasuraha. Very, very beautiful verse. Ya etasmin mahabhaga priti kurvanti manavaha. Any person or group which is attached to Krishna is most fortunate. Mahabhaga. Any person who has developed his attraction for Krishna, he is Mahabhaga. Priti kurvanti manava, because he has developed love for Krishna. Therefore, na areyo abhibhavanti etan, he will not be defeated by any enemies. Just like the Devatas, they have Vishnu on their side, so ultimately they are always victorious. your son, because he is Narayan himself, he is like Narayan. He did not reveal actually that Krishna is Narayan. He's, he said, Gargacharya said, oh, your son is as good as Narayan. So therefore, if you all take shelter of Krishna, you are most fortunate. So that is our fortune. If we get a chance to come close to Krishna, getting a chance to hear about Krishna, speak about Krishna, we are most fortunate. Mamanaradhya dukkhartam kutumba sakta manasah satsangarahito martyo vriddha seva parichyutah. It is described that anyone who gets a chance to serve Krishna, worship Krishna, association of devotees of Krishna, one who understands that the purpose of life is not just to maintain family, but to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Anyone who gets a chance to serve the devotees of the Lord, he is most fortunate. And just by coming to Krishna consciousness, we are getting all these opportunities in abundance. Ye tasmin mahabhaga. These people are most fortunate. Why? Priti kurvanti. They are loving Krishna. They have developed attraction for Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Gargacharya said, "Oh Nanda Maharaj, this child is as good as Narayan. So therefore, do not be astonished by his activities. He will perform so many wonderful, wonderful activities. Do not be astonished by those activities. All the transcendental pastimes, all the qualities, name, form, opulences of your son is same as Narayan." So Gargacharya is telling all these to uh, Brajavasis. But Nanda Maharaj, he's telling all these Brajavasis that, Are, he's not God, he's as good as God. So therefore he's telling, your son, he's not telling, this is your son or my son. He's saying this boy. So Nanda Maharaj is saying, oh, this boy is as good as Narayan. That means he is not just my son, he's your son also. So please continue giving your blessings to this son, this boy. He needs protection, please protect him. So Nanda Maharaj is trying to remove all the awe and reverence from the heart of all these Brajavasis by speaking that. He says he's as good as Narayan. Chakravarti Thakur gives an example. He says, just like a jewel, if it is named as Surya Kant, that means it is as good as sun. It is like sun. It is not sun. Similarly, this child is as good as Narayan. He is not Narayan. So that is the beauty of Brajvasis. They never accept Krishna as God. So Nanda Maharaj therefore continued that after this, Gargacharya, after telling all this, he left my home, and from then onwards, I accept this boy as an expansion of Narayan. As good as Narayan, he's not Narayan. He's as good as Narayan. So now Shukdev Goswami continues the story that all the Brajvasis, their confusion was removed when they heard the words of Nanda Maharaj. Iti Nandavacha Shrutva Garga Geetam Tam Brajaukasah Muditam Nandam Anuchar Krishnam Ta Gata Vismayah. They became satisfied. All their confusion was gone. So then Shukdev Goswami concludes this chapter by remembering the whole pastime of Govardhan Lila. In the last verse, he says, Indra, he became so very angry because his sacrifice was stopped, and then he sent very powerful clouds along with the hailstorm. They created such distressful situation for the Brajvasis. But Krishna very easily smiled, and very easily he lifted this whole Govardhan mountain just like a mushroom. In this way, destroyed the pride of Indra, and he was glorified as Govinda. May that Supreme Lord Govinda, who is the Lord of the cows, be pleased with me, be pleased with us. That is the end of this chapter. Then, the 27th chapter, which is entitled as Lord Indra and Mother Surabhi offers prayers. Okay, so Parikshit Maharaj may say, okay, what happened after Indra failed in his attack? What happened? What did Indra do? So Shukdev Goswami, sensing this inquisitiveness in the mind of Parikshit, he continued. He said, after protecting Brajvasis, Surabhi cow, who is the mother of all the cows, she came from her planet called Goloka. This Goloka is not the Goloka Vrindavan of the spiritual world. In the heavenly planet also there is a Goloka. Goloka means the place of cows. So she came to see Krishna along with Indra. So it is described, Chakravarti Thakur writes that, in order to see what the thunderbolts had done to Govardhan, after few days, Krishna went near Govardhan. Alone he went. He wanted to see what all destruction was done by the thunderbolts on Govardhan. So he was alone that time. He was, observing the Govardhan. Indra, he thought this is the right opportunity. Nobody is there, so I can privately go and ask for forgiveness. So Indra, he was already very ashamed. He approached Krishna in this solitary place. He fell down, offered his obeisances. He touched his helmet at Krishna's feet. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually Surabhi, she told Indra that, oh Indra, now Krishna is alone. Please go. Go alone. Don't take your carrier with you. Don't sit on the Aravat. Just come down and in a humble mood offer respects, offer obeisances to Krishna and ask for forgiveness. So as Indra approached, Krishna, he saw, oh, Indra has come. He says, oh, King of Devtas, I see that you have unprecedented affection for me. In a sarcastic voice, he's saying, he says, oh, you have such unprecedented affection for me. You have come to see me. You have come to show me mercy. Although I stopped your sacrifice, but still you have come to give me your mercy. You are so very merciful. But Indra, he understood. He had seen and he had heard the prowess of the Supreme Lord, and his false ego was completely crushed. So therefore, he started speaking. He addressed the Lord because he was thinking. Actually, he was fearful. He was fearful that, oh, Krishna may not punish me. But when Krishna heard these words when Indra heard these words from Krishna, he understood, oh, Lord is not so angry at my offense. So he became little composed and he started offering some prayers. So, Krishna may say, oh, you know that I am a foolish child. Why are you offering prayers to me? I ate your offerings. I gave all your offerings to Govardhan. Sensing this, Indra, he says, Vishuddha Sattvam Tavadhama Shantam Tapomayam Dhvastrajastamaskam Mayamayoyam Gunasampravaho Na Vidyate Te Gharanubandha. He says, oh my Lord, you are Vishuddha Sattva. You are transcendental in your form. You are the pure goodness, personified. Tava dham shantam. So Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami has given elaborate description of what is this dham, what is this shanta. But the disciples of Prabhupada, they translate Tava dham. Tava dham means your form. Your form does not undergo any change. Shanta means does not undergo any change. Dham can also mean the abode of Krishna. Dham can also mean the form and appearance. Dham can also mean the power, the majesty, the opulence of Krishna. Anything which is related to Krishna does not undergo any change. Tavadham Shantam. Tapomayam Dhvasta Rajas Tamaskam. Your form is free from any modes of passion and ignorance. It is full of knowledge. Tapomayam. It is shining with the fire of knowledge. Maya mayoyam gunasampravaho. O my Lord, in you does not exist any flow of the modes of material nature. So how can you become greedy? You are saying you ate my offerings, but you are not greedy. There is no lust in you. Na vidyate ye grahananubandha. The modes of nature, they are the cause of illusion and ignorance. But in your form, there is no ignorance. There is no passion because you are free from the modes of nature. Oh my Lord, the modes do not affect you. So if modes are not affecting you, how can you become lusty, greedy, angry? All these things cannot exist in you, oh my Lord. In fact, you impose punishment to curb the pride of arrogant people. You destroy the irreligious, demoniac personalities, and you protect your devotees. That's why you perform so many wonderful pastimes. And then he says, O Supreme Lord, you can, whatever you do, that is perfect. You are like father, you are mother, you are teacher. And father, mother, teacher do not do anything wrong to their subordinate. Pita gurustam jagatam दुरत्यय काल उपात दंड हिताय चिच्छा तनुभि समीहसे manam vidunvan jagadish maninam. He says, O my Lord, you are my father, you are the guru, you are the mother of all the universe, not only me. Jagatam adhisho. You are the ruler, controller of entire universe. Duratyaya kala upat dandam. In fact, you are the insurmountable time. You punish those who are sinful and you give mercy. Hitaya, for the welfare of people in general, you punish the sinful and you protect the devotees. Manam vidhunvan jagadisha maninam. Oh my Lord, I was so very full of pride. So you removed my false ego, you removed my pride so that I can understand now my actual position, oh my Lord. You are supremely merciful. And then he says, there are foolish people who think that they are controllers. And among all those, I am the lowest who was thinking that I am the Lord of everything. But fools like me, they are given your mercy, they are purified. You give mercy to all these fools like me. You remove the pride of your devotees because I am also your devotee. But you have done it just to correct me. You punish mischievous people just to correct them. And I was thinking myself to be the controller. You have removed my pride. And now I have realized that I am not controller. I am just the servant of you, O my Lord. Krishna may say, I lifted Govardhan to protect Vraja. I didn't lift Govardhan to punish you, but now I will call Yamraj and I will make him punish you. Indra is becoming fearful. So in the next verse, in the 8th verse, out of great fear, he expresses his condition. He says, "Oh my Lord, I was so engrossed in pride. I was ignorant of your powers. I was so very intoxicated by my wealth. Please forgive me. Out of my ego, out of my pride, I have acted in such a wrong way. I have tried to give pain to your dear devotees. Please forgive me because my intelligence was bewildered." Jiva Goswami says that even if I have committed offense, but I committed it because I was so very overwhelmed with pride. And when somebody is overwhelmed with pride, naturally he becomes angry. So nobody should take a person seriously if he's angry. So therefore, please forgive me. Actually, Indra is asking for forgiveness, but he is not repenting from the core of his heart. Because in the further chapter, we'll see that when Krishna stole the Parijat tree, he became so very angry. And then he says, Indra says, "I am so very foolish, and you have mercifully gave me your mercy, gave me, purified me of my pride. So therefore, please forgive me." He says, "You descend in this world." He's, speaking, he's saying the same thing many times. "You descend in this world to destroy those who are miscreants, to establish the people, the devotees who are situated on the path of righteousness. Please forgive me, O my Lord. Let me surrender unto you because you are the Supreme Lord. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Vasudevaya Krishnaya Satvatam Pataye Namaha." I offer my obeisances to that Supreme Lord who is the super soul of entire cosmic manifestation, who is all pervading. I offer my obeisances. Just to show mercy to your devotees, you assume many forms. Yadyadhyat urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. That is the mercy of Krishna. Whatever form a devotee wants to see, Krishna manifests that form. Krishna may say, "Oh Indra, you are my devotee, right? And I can understand that you are offering so many wonderful prayers. I know that all these clouds which created this devastation, they did not take your permission." Innocently, in an innocent way, Krishna may think like that. So therefore, Krishna may tell Indra, "Oh Indra, you should punish these clouds. I know you are my devotee, you can never do this." Indra, he understands. He says, he thinks, "Now I cannot, say anything false. I cannot be duplicitous." He frankly admits his uh, mistake. He says, "My dear Lord, when my sacrifice was disrupted by you, I became so very angry because my ego was crushed. I gave order to these storms and winds to go and destroy Vrindavan. How is this possible? You are my devotee, right? How can my devotee do this?" Indra said, "But my lord, when my worship was stopped, I became very angry." Arey, however angry my devotee may be, he cannot do this. Indra says that anything is possible, oh my lord, when one is pride, one is having that pride. Even if somebody has pride, but the devotee should have used his intelligence, and he should not have acted in this way. I don't think you acted because of that. Indra says, "Oh my lord, when anger comes, then the intelligence also stops working." And this is the background conversation which Chakravarti Thakur is giving. So then after this, Indra says, O my Lord, therefore please be merciful to me. You have shattered my pride, and you have defeated all my attempts. I have realized my position as a servant of you, and now I take your shelter. Now, Krishna, when he heard all these prayers, he started speaking in a very grave voice, like the rumbling of the clouds. Evam sankirtita Krishno maghona bhagavanamam megha gambhiraya vacha prahasannidam abravit. Megha gambhiraya. This word comes many times in Bhagavatam. Megha gambhiraya vacha. He spoke like in a voice like thundering of clouds, rumbling of clouds. Prahassan, he smiled and he spoke. So Krishna, he was not so upset with Indra, because whatever Indra did, he allowed all the Brajavasis to come together and be with Krishna. That gave greatest pleasure to Krishna. So Krishna, he started speaking. He says, Mayate kari bhagavan makha bhango anugrihnata madanusmrataye nityam mattasyendra shriyabrisam. He says, O Indra, it was out of my mercy that I destroyed your pride. I stopped your sacrifice just to destroy your pride. So therefore, now please always remember me. Mad anusmritaye nityam. Please always remember me and perform your duties as king. Please don't get intoxicated. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that because Indra, he spoke with such sincerity. Now Krishna is also speaking with very sincerity. He is replying with sincerity. Now he says, Krishna continues, Mamaishwarya Shri Madandho Dandapanim na pashyati tam bhramshanti sampadbhyo yasya chechhamyanugraham. He says, Krishna is telling, O Indra, a man who is blinded by intoxication, with his power, with his wealth, with his opulence, he cannot see me standing as death nearby. I am there standing as death nearby everyone. But a person who is intoxicated by wealth, opulence, he cannot see me as death. And therefore they get bewildered. But if my devotee gets distracted, I personally take care of my devotee. If I desire real welfare of my devotee, I drag him down from his materially fortunate position. That is very interesting. Krishna does not allow his devotees to become proud, because he wants devotees to become purified and come close to him as soon as possible. Yasyaham anugrahinami harishyeta dhanam shanaihi. Krishna says in 11th canto also it is there. If I show special mercy to somebody, I take away everything from him. If somebody becomes proud of his wealth, Krishna does not like it. Therefore, in the 8th canto also it is described, Janma karma vayo rupam vidya aishwarya dhanadibhi yadi yasya na bhavet stambha tatrayam mad anugrahat. Krishna is telling, anyone who has high birth, janma, good activities, youthful body, beautiful body, a wonderful education, if he's not proud of all these facilities, you should understand that that person has received my mercy. So Krishna is not uh, ready to make his devotees poverty stricken. He is just concerned that devotees should not become proud, because in pride it is very, very difficult to practice devotional service regularly, consistently. So that's what Krishna says. And then after instructing Indra, he says, "O Indra, You may go now. Please execute my order. Don't become proud. Be sober and continue ruling the universe, being the king of heaven. Then, after Krishna spoke to Indra, Surbhi, Mother Surbhi, she came forward along with her progeny, the cows, and she started offering her prayers. Why she did not speak before Indra? She could have spoken on behalf of Indra because of two reasons. Chakravarti Thakur says she wanted to witness the omniscience of Krishna, how Krishna is all knowing. She wanted to witness the merciful nature of Krishna, and also she wanted to make a request which was very unique. So, therefore, she waited for Indra to speak first. So, Mother Surbhi, she starts offering prayers. Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatmam Vishwasambhava Bhavata Lokanathena Sanatha Vayamachyuta. She says, Oh Krishna, Krishna, oh Krishna, Supreme Lord, you are Mahayogi. You are the greatest of the mystics. Vishwatman Vishwasambhavam. You are the super soul of entire universe. You are the origin of the universe. Bhavata Lokanathena. You are the master of the world. And now you are our master also. She says, now you are our worshipable deity. So Mother Surbhi, she is making Krishna as her master now. Because Indra is the personality who rules the heavenly planets and upper planetary systems. Surbhi, Mother Surbhi, she says, we don't want Indra to rule us. We want you to be our master directly, not through Indra. So therefore, she says, Oh Krishna, let you be our Indra. As ordered by Brahmaji, let us perform Abhishek and coronate you as our Indra. Because you are there ready to relieve the burden of earth. And after this, Surbhi cow, she performed wonderful Abhishek of Krishna along with Indra and coronated him as the king of all the cows. And Indra gave him the name Govinda. So Shukdev Goswami, he describes that after Mother Surbhi, she offered Abhishek. Indra, he also offered Abhishek to Krishna. Actually, Indra was feeling very embarrassed because he did such wrong. So then Aditi, the mother of the Devatas, she encouraged Indra, please go and you also do the Abhishek. So being ordered by Aditi, Indra also came. He brought celestial waters of Mandakini Ganga, and Eravat, he performed Abhishek. He poured that water of Mandakini Ganga on Krishna, did wonderful Abhishek of the Lord. And then all the Devatas, they also came, their various sages, heavenly sages, Tumburu, Narada, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, they all came, they started glorifying the Lord, praising the Lord in choicest prayers. The wives of the Devatas, they came, started dancing and glorifying the wonderful feats of Krishna. And when Krishna was coronated and he was performed, all this Abhishek was performed, everywhere there was happiness. Rivers started flowing with crystal clear water. Trees started giving very sweet honey. And all the edible plants, they started giving nice fruits. There was happiness everywhere. Then Shukdev Goswami says that, O Parikshit Maharaj, upon this ceremonial bathing of Krishna, even cruel people became very, very kind, free from all the enmity. So then after Indra performed this Abhishek, he went back to his abode. And that's the end of this chapter. Now the 28th chapter which is entitled Krishna Rescues Nanda Maharaj from the Abode of Varuna. So, after describing the astonishing story of Govardhan Leela and how Krishna shattered the pride of Indra, Shukdev Goswami remembered one more story in which one of the attendants or servants of Varuna, he became very proud and he arrested Nanda Maharaj. So Shukdev Goswami, he continued that, Nanda Maharaj, he was performing Ekadashi Vrata and he worshipped Janardana. And then next day morning on Dwadashi day, he went and just before sunrise, he took bath in Yamuna. So according to technical details, one should not take bath in river before sunrise. But because Nanda Maharaj, he was following this Ekadashi Vrata and he had to break the fast, and the time was passing by, only few minutes were left. So therefore, Nanda Maharaj went and took bath in Yamuna. So as Nanda Maharaj entered this river at a wrong time, one of the demoniac servants of Varuna, he arrested Nanda Maharaj. Why he was called as demoniac? Because he did not recognize the position of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is the father of Supreme Personality. And this servant he could not understand. And at the same time, he did not understand that Nanda Maharaj was following the principles of devotion. Bhakti principles are always given preference. So he should not have arrested Nanda Maharaj. But still, because he was unaware of the rules and regulations of devotional life, he arrested. So Nanda Maharaj, he went to this place with few cowherd men, and when they saw that Nanda Maharaj is not coming out, everybody started crying, lamenting, "Oh Krishna, Balram, please protect your father." Krishna was there far off, sleeping in his home. But if anybody calls the name of Krishna, Krishna hears, and immediately Krishna got up. Quickly he reached that place where Nanda Maharaj was taking bath. He asked, "Oh, where my father was taking bath?" After recognizing that place, immediately Krishna jumped in and he reached the place, the palace of Varunadev. When Varuna, he saw that Supreme Personality Rishikesh had arrived, he became so very happy, jubilant, and he started glorifying the Supreme Lord. Vadyate nirbhrito deho daivavartho adhigatah prabho tvatpad bhajo bhagavan avapu paramadhvanah. So Varuna Dev is now offering prayers. Today, my body has fulfilled its function. Today, my life has become successful. Today, I have achieved the goal of my existence because I have got darshan of your lotus feet. I have got your darshan, O my Lord. By your darshan, one can cross this ocean of material existence. You are the Supreme Lord. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Brahmane Paramatmane Nayatra Shruyate Maya Loka Srishti Vikalpana. O my Lord, you are the Supreme Personality. Namastubhyam. I offer my obeisances unto you. You are the Supreme Brahman. You are the Paramatma. You are the super soul of everyone. Wherever you are there is no trace of illusion. What to speak of material existence then? Krishna may say, "Arey, why are you embarrassing me by praising in all these wonderful big, big ways?" Varun says, "Oh my Lord, I am not able to recognize your glories. Ajanata mamakena mudhena karyavedina anitoyam tava pita tad bhavan shantumarhati." Oh my Lord, I know that you are the Supreme Lord. My foolish servant, he did not understand the glories of your father Nanda Maharaj. He brought him here. As Krishna, Varuna Devi is talking to Krishna. Even before Krishna came, Nanda Maharaj recognized, oh, Nanda Maharaj, Varuna Dev recognized that Nanda Maharaj is the father of the Supreme Lord. So he had already gave all the respects to Nanda Maharaj. He was seated on a wonderful throne. So now Varuna Dev is telling, oh Krishna, your father is, by mistake, my foolish servant, he brought him. So now please, you can take your father. I ask forgiveness for this act. Oh Krishna, you know everything. Please be merciful to me for this act which is done in a mistake. My servant, he did it in a wrong way. He made a mistake. So please take your father. So in this way, Varuna Devi satisfied Krishna by prayers, and Krishna he returned home with his father. And all the Brajavasis, they became so very happy when they saw Nanda Maharaj back. But Nanda Maharaj, he was so very astonished to see how Varuna Dev, who is the controller of all the water bodies, a celestial being, a devata, offering prayers to Krishna. And Nanda Maharaj, then he told everything to all the Brajavasis. Brajavasis, they started thinking, oh, it seems Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We should go and ask Krishna's favor. They started thinking, will Supreme Lord bestow favor on us? Will we ever get a chance to go to the transcendental abode, Vaikuntha? Krishna, he understood whatever was going on in the minds of all these Brajavasis. He wanted to show compassion. Jano vailoka etasmin avidya kama karma bhi uccavachashu gatishu naveda swam gatim brahman. So Krishna, he's telling, oh, he was thinking, just see the situation of people in this world. Janomai loka etasmin. In this world, avidya kama karma bhi. Because of ignorance, because of their desires, they engage in so very different activities. Based on those activities, sometimes they get higher destinations, sometimes lower destinations. Uccha vachayashu gatishu. And therefore, people, they do not know their real destination. Chakravarti Thakur describes that actually, Krishna is telling about Brajavasis. He's saying, just see these Brajavasis. Are they don't know their real destination. They are thinking about going to Vaikuntha. They are not understanding their own real position. So Krishna is thinking, okay, no problem. I will show them mercy. They are eternal residents of Brindavan, and Brindavan is much higher than Brahman and Vaikuntha. But they are acting like a ignorant person, foolish person, and they are desiring to go to Vaikuntha. It is described just like a person. So all these Brajavasis, they never accept Krishna as God. Example is given, just like a law-abiding citizen, when he sees policeman as a friend, as a well-wisher. And for law-abiding citizen, there is no experience of control, although there are so many rules and regulations. But because a citizen follows the rules and regulations so very nicely, for him the rules are not restrictions. But a criminal thinks that, oh, these are restrictions. These Brajvasis are so very in tune with Krishna's desire. They never accept Krishna as a supreme Lord. But conditioned souls, they think, oh, Krishna is supreme and we are fallen. That's why they are thinking in terms of, Krishna's supremacy. But these Brajavasis, they have such love for Krishna. They are thinking, oh, there must be something greater than what they are in position now. So Krishna, he wanted to show mercy to Brajavasis. So after analyzing all this situation, Krishna, he revealed to all these Brajavasis his own abode, which is beyond material darkness. So first, he revealed Brahman effulgence. He showed all these Brajvasis what is Brahman. And then Krishna, he showed all these Brajvasis Vaikuntha. So actually Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna, he gave them realization of Brahman, and then he immersed them in the lake of Brahman realization. After taking out from this lake of Brahman realization, he showed them Vaikuntha. When all these Brajvasis, they saw Vaikuntha, actually by the Leela Shakti, they all were transported to real Vaikuntha. But in the Vaikuntha, they were thinking, oh, Krishna is not behaving with us as he behaves in Vrindavan. He is not feeling hungry, he is not feeling thirsty. We are not able to embrace him, we are not able to exchange our love with him, we are not able to take Krishna on our lap. They were feeling so very uncomfortable. Then they realized, no, 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 we cannot stay here. Then Krishna brought them back all to the Vrindavan on the earth. And they realized that their position is the best. That's what they want. So that is the end of this chapter. So we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. So anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to know about that. You said after Ekadashi, Nand Maharaj went to take a bath. We are not allowed to take bath before sunrise. Sunrise. Just can you explain that more?
That is for the water bodies. So on that particular Ekadashi, next day Dwadashi, the general custom is one should not take bath in the river before sunrise. But because the fast has to be broken on the proper paran time, and the time was passing, only few minutes were remaining, and the sun had not risen yet. So therefore Nanda Maharaj was technically, from the bhakti perspective, he was right, but from the perspective of not taking bath in the river before sunrise, that was some technical, that is called niyamagraha. So the servant of Yamaraj, he thought, no, 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 how can he take bath? Sun has not risen yet. But according to the Ekadashi principle, according to the devotional principle, it was right on behalf of Nanda Maharaj. And of course, Nanda Maharaj he is a father of Supreme Lord, so he should not have arrested. So that is there. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. So tomorrow we'll Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.